This is SSPTV News, brought to you by Samsung Productions and the Hazleton Standard Speaker.
As the snow continues to fall, our coverage of this winter storm also continues. Good evening and thank you for joining us at SSPTV News, your place for 24 hours of your hometown news and information. My name is Ken Kerr and I have your headlines from SSPTV and the Hazleton Standard Speaker. And a quick note, tonight's program was pre-recorded because of the winter storm. Well, the winter storm warning issued by the National Weather Service for our area remains in effect. Many places are closed and events postponed or canceled. This program was taped before the storm. Therefore, for updates on the weather forecast and the latest weather-related announcements, please go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/SSPTV News. We will also be scrolling announcements on the bottom of your screen right here on SSPTV. While our program was pre-recorded, we do have important advice for anyone who does have to travel during this latest blast from Old Man Winter. Here's Lisa Sugart.
Pleased to welcome back James May, the District Press Officer for PennDOT, with some important advice. If people unfortunately have to venture out during this snowstorm, you have important tips for them.
Well, first of all, before you get to the snowstorm, make sure that your car is in good working condition. You should always make sure your car is in good working condition, but especially like this, make sure your tires are good, make sure that your windshield wiper is good, make sure that your car is completely turned off. I know a few weeks ago we were here talking about the laws that are laws that people don't know are laws. One of those laws actually is that if snow or ice flies off your car and hits somebody behind you, you could be held liable and face fines and even jail time if you cause injury or death to somebody. So make sure for your safety and the safety of others on the road that your car is completely cleaned off, your windshield wipers are working, and don't pull out until it is. You know, don't just get a little piece cleared that you can see that little tiny window out your car and then hope for the best. But make sure your car is completely cleared off and just make sure that it's in really good working condition. The other thing, if you do have to go out, make sure that you have an emergency kit with you before you head out. We talk about this all the time, but this is the snowstorm that you really need to make sure that you have that. And think through, what are all of the items that you would need with you if you are stuck alongside the road for 24 hours? You know, and there's some generic things to make sure you have maybe a candle and flashlight, and make sure that you have a cell phone and a charger that's working real well, gloves, mittens, you know, some sort of shovel with you and something to help try to get your car unstuck if you would need it. Those are the generic things that all of us should have, but then also think through, what are the things specific to you that you might need? Is there any kind of medicine that you might need? Is there maybe contact lens solution? Those type of things. What do you need if you're heading out for 24 hours and you're going to be stuck alongside the road in the snow? So pack that, put it in your trunk, and have that with you. Take a cell phone with you. Don't obviously be texting and using it while you're driving, especially in this type of weather. But this is the time of year that we really need to make sure, and this is the type of storm that we're in right now, to really make sure that if you do have to head out, that your car is working well, that it's cleared off, and that you have that emergency kit with you.
And if you are traveling and heaven forbid you do come into like a whiteout situation, we've seen 25-car pileups and more. What's the best advice if you get into a situation where you can't see anything? Well,
the best advice is to pull off to the side of the road and pull off as far as you can. You know, people sometimes feel the need to press on and to continue going, but and you may have seen this on, you know, online. You'll see these videos that if there's a pileup, many times that pileup is there because there's a sheet of ice somewhere on the road, and you won't be able to stop. So it's better to pull over when you're able to and just wait for the storm to pass. Over the next few days, you know, we have the snow that's coming in now, but over the next few days, we're going to see a lot of the wind continuing to blow. Obviously, that's a concern for when you're driving, that it doesn't shift your car around. But then also, the snow will be blowing back onto the road. So you may be driving along for a few miles and the road will be completely clear, then you'll come to a spot where the snow has blown over. It's just absolutely critical that people slow down, take your time, and be safe, and don't travel unless you absolutely have to.
And if people have to, they should be aware of what the speed limits are and any changes that have been made because of the storm.
It is, and that's going to be a continually changing situation throughout the duration of the storm. We will take the speed limit down to 45 in certain areas, and we'll lift it in certain areas, and we may have some, as the storm continues here, we may have some additional restrictions on trucks. So it's just one of those always changing, and we try to adapt that, knowing that one of the things with living in Pennsylvania Pennsylvania is that the weather is not always the same, even within a few counties away from each other. So there may be a restriction in place for one portion of the interstate, but not another portion of the interstate. But it's always important that you just drive for the conditions. So even if you're not aware of a speed limit reduction, slow down and take your time and just make sure you get there safe.
And download the 511 PA app, because that gives you a lot of the information.
That's a great way that you can actually look at the road conditions and see what they actually look like. We have traffic cameras all over the region. You can look at those, but then you can also track the snow plows as well. And every one of our snow plows has what's an AVL, automated vehicle locator, inside that, and you can see where the snow plows are. And then if you do have to go out, you can time your trip to get behind one of those snow plows rather than just in front of it where you don't want to be. And that way you can kind of have some idea when it's a good time to go out if you absolutely have to.
All right, good advice to stay safe. If you don't have to go out, don't. But if you do, please take James' advice, because that's the way to stay safe at a storm like this.
Traveling isn't the only concern during the storm. Caution is also advised for those who venture outdoors to clear away the snow. Lisa Sugart is back once again.
Well, with the amount of snow that we have received, unfortunately, we want to get rid of it, so everybody's out there either plowing, shoveling, but there is advice for everyone so that we can stay safe while we're doing it. Dennis Gans is Director of Marketing and Education for APTS, which is the American Patient Transport Systems Incorporated, right here in Hazleton. What's the best advice so that we don't need to call the ambulance while we're out shoveling?
Well, the biggest thing you want to keep in mind is, pace yourself, moderation. If you can get a neighbor or somebody to help you remove the snow, go ahead and do that, especially if you're maybe a little bit elderly, have some medical problems. If you've luxury of a snow blower, or you can call someone that has a plow to help you move snow, obviously do that. But limit your time, pace yourself, drink plenty of water, even though it's going to be cold outside. Stay hydrated so we don't get dehydrated while we're working. And be careful. Don't use your, careful of your back, lift with your legs. It's going to be a heavy snow initially, and then it sounds like we're going to get some more snow, coming that might be drifting from the wind. So, pace yourself.
How do we know if we're having a problem and we need to call for help?
Pay attention to your body, pay attention to signs and symptoms. If you're starting to get very, very nauseated, perhaps you're having any kind of pain, as an example of cardiac episode might be happening, pain in the chest radiating to the back, shoulders, arms, maybe neck and jaw area, go inside, sit down, call for help, call a loved one, get us there to evaluate you.
Do you get a lot of calls when the weather is like this?
It varies. We can get a lot of calls. We hope we don't get a lot of calls, and that people pay attention to themselves and take care of themselves. But again, don't be afraid to call 911. We're there to help you.
And we have to be dressed properly, like not out there shoveling without gloves on, so then we get frostbite.
Right, yeah, you want to be careful with that. Again, exposed skin is susceptible to any kind of frostbite, so make sure you're clothed, cover that nose and your mouth up if you can, especially if you have any kind of breathing, COPD problems. That cold air is going to affect your breathing.
And people should not wait. If they do think they're having any kind of a serious problem, they should call immediately for help.
Yeah, definitely don't wait, because you never know how fast something's going to exacerbate, and you don't want to be in a position where you're not able to call. So call.
All right. And for anybody heading out into the roadways and that, they need to be prepared in their car as well to make sure that they don't have any problems.
Yeah, always, in something like this, if you absolutely have to be on the roadways and traveling, pack a blanket, extra clothes, maybe a little bit of food and something to drink. So in case you get stuck or you're stuck in traffic and stop for a while, you're prepared, you're able to stay warm, maybe stay hydrated, have a little bit of nourishment until help can get to you.
All right. Great advice if you do need to be outside in this snow. Otherwise, stay in while you can. As Dennis said, get help if you can, especially if you have any kind of pre-existing conditions already. We want everybody to stay safe during the storm, because hopefully there is light at the end of the tunnel and we will see warm temperatures soon.
Speaking of the snow, how would you or someone you know like to be crowned a winter princess or prince? A first-of-its-kind pageant is coming to the Laurel Mall. Here's Lisa to end today's Lisa Sugart Trilogy.
A first-of-its-kind event is coming here to the Laurel Mall, and to get all the details, I'm pleased to welcome back Business Development Manager Rocco Aruzzo. A pageant is coming to the mall. How exciting!
It is exciting. This is the first time the Laurel Mall has ever held one. It's going to be on April 1st And it is true, it's not April Fool's Day. It is at the pageant, April 1st at 5 p.m. And it's through Princess Pageants, Sunburst Pageants, and it's called the Princess Pageant.
All right. So, and this is a pageant that is for literally all ages. So everybody can enter, and there is a registration fee.
Yeah, there is a registration fee of $50, and we do have the forms here at the Laurel Mall, different locations throughout the mall, or they can go on sunburstpageants.com and register. It is $50, and there is no age limit. It's from birth right up to whenever.
So for ladies and gentlemen, they can both enter
Yes.
in this fabulous event. So this is a nice event for the mall. You've never had anything like this. And a lot of people in our area love pageants.
Yeah, they do. And when Sunburst got a hold of us, they were really interested in coming to the Laurel Mall because of everything that's been happening here. They do this all winter long, and I know they call it a winter pageant, and it is April 1st, but they go through the winter. They visit all the malls throughout the country, and Laurel Mall was picked as one. So we're pretty excited and happy that they're doing it, and they do get a lot of participation.
All right, so if you are interested, you can either go online to the website or you can come here to the Laurel Mall. And as Rocco said, displays like the one behind us are throughout the mall. You can just pick up one of the brochures and enter. And we have to give one more reminder while we're here that we did announce TJ Maxx's official date is
April 23rd, 8 a.m., ribbon cutting right outside in front of their store. TJ Maxx will finally be here at the Laurel Mall.
So April is a really big month here at the Laurel Mall. We hope to see you here for the pageant, and we hope to see you when the doors open at TJ Maxx.
Lisa, you are the queen of this newscast. Thank you. Meanwhile, the Laurel Mall was closed today because of the storm. It is expected to reopen tomorrow at noon. However, check our Facebook page or the mall's Facebook page to be sure before heading out tomorrow. And tonight we have a shout out for Colleen Racho, one of our SSPTV News fans on Facebook. Thank you, Colleen, for the support. And don't forget to like SSPTV News' Facebook page for your chance at an SSPTV News shout out. Coming up on SSPTV News, I'll try to take your mind off the snow in sports as we talk to the Schuylkill League president about changes to the league and the PIAA. When we come back, we'll jump in a flying V with Kent Jackson as he talks about geese in this week's Outdoor Exploring segment.
This is SSPTV News, brought to you by Samsung Productions and the Hazleton Standard Speaker.
This Saturday marks the first ever Shamrocking for Autism. The event is sponsored by SAFE, supporting autism and families everywhere. It takes place Saturday at the Valley Country Club from 7 p.m. until 11 p.m. The cost is $40 per person and includes 2 carving stations, hors d'oeuvres, a DJ, a cash bar, tricky trays, and more. Plus, each paid ticket is eligible for the grand prize drawing. Call 570-822-7259 for tickets and information, or go to autismsafe.org. Time now for our weekly trip outdoors with Kent Jackson.
I was driving along Walnut Avenue in Sugarloaf the first time I saw the geese. They crowded around a pond at the Valley Country Club. Now, in 30 years of living nearby, I had never seen many Canada geese on the course before. Now there was a flock. A few days later, I went back to take pictures. I had fun watching the geese. They arrived in small groups, not a huge flock flying in a V, but they hung out together in the water or nearby on shore. Eventually, it sunk in that the geese could become a problem. Mother goose gets riled if someone hits a 7-iron near her babies. Plus, geese aren't renowned for cleanliness. They drop a pound or 2 of waste a day, and with 50 or 60 geese, that creates a lot to scoop up. Around the country, groundskeepers at parks, golf courses, and residential communities have become unwitting hosts to geese. The Humane Society has developed a plan to expel the geese, humanely of course. Some businesses train dogs like border collies that go into the water and chase away the geese. And if geese lay eggs on the golf course or park, people can prevent the eggs from hatching without hurting the adults. Geese flying north for the winter is a sign of spring normally, but as the flock at the Valley Country Club indicates, not all geese migrate anymore. Land managers released farm-raised geese from which the non-migrating flocks of today descend. Because those geese didn't migrate, they didn't teach their offspring to migrate either. In any case, Eric Reed, the green superintendent at the Valley Country Club, told me in late February that the flock had left. He hopes they stay away and spare his workers from extra cleanup chores.
Another great segment from Kent Jackson. Remember, tonight's program was pre-recorded. For the latest weather, check us out at facebook.com/SSPTV News. Now our weekly segment from Edgewood by Sand Springs.
Back here at Edgewood by Sand Springs in the beautiful bridal suite on this nice, comfortable furniture with Samantha Burkowski, who this is the face you'll see when you come in to talk about booking any of your events, whether it be a wedding, a bridal party, a reunion, a confirmation party. You know, those are coming up, birthday parties, anything that you need a venue for, you can do that here.
Absolutely, we do it all. So we do have one major ballroom that we can hold larger parties, and we do have our azalea room as well that can hold smaller parties too. So really it's your one-stop venue for any of those events. The thing that is great about Edgewood is that you keep yourself trained. Recently you went and you were certified in bridal consulting. Yes, correct. What does that mean? So we were recently certified by the Bridal Society. So now I am a certified wedding coordinator. So really that means we do have a background and training in all sort of consultation practices for a potential bride. We are also able to keep your brides on point with their milestones, where they need to be at certain points in their planning process as well. You know, so we can always help them 6 months out, 3 months out, where exactly they need to be with their planning.
And that's great because it takes that pressure off of the bride, knowing the background of what transpires when you are planning an enormous party like a wedding, and worrying about the seating chart and worrying about the behind the scenes. There's a lot of those little things that we don't think about that you can actually offer advice based on the training that you've had.
Sure, absolutely. So just as you mentioned, you know, seating, anything from seating to you know, exactly where to place their vendors or how to pay their vendors even, you know, we can certainly help them, obviously offer up some ideas and kind of keep them on track through the entire planning process all the way up until the day of the event.
And they could also bounce some ideas off of you
Sure.
from experience and dealing with the whole, again, behind the scenes. You can know, you can offer some suggestions that would make it easier on the bride,
Yes.
easier on their guests as well.
Absolutely. So it's really great, and it's something that only Edgewood by Sand Springs and Sand Springs Country Club has. We are all certified wedding coordinators now, which is really wonderful. It's a great credential to have.
All right, well, thanks for joining us here. We'll see you next week on SSPTV News.
Time now for sports on SSPTV News.
We had Steve Toth in the studio recently to talk about the Student Athlete Leadership Academy. I thought, while you're here, let's talk about the Schuylkill League, because it's a big thing. Give me your background a little bit. You said you went to Cardinal Brennan. How do you come then to become the Schuylkill League president?
Went to Cardinal Brennan, graduated from Wilkes University, got my principal certification, and am now the assistant superintendent at Tamaqua Area School District. Kind of fell into the presidency. Basically, Carl McBreen, who was the president of the league, got his superintendent's letter of eligibility and became superintendent of Minersville, and I was his vice president and just kind of moved up. I owe a lot of where I am from him. He was a very good mentor for me. And you know, it was just a good experience, you know, getting to learn from him and also learn from many of the other ADs who have put a lot of time and effort and their careers into the league. And we're trying to make it better every year.
And this was a year of growth, really, for the Schuylkill League. You had the Schuylkill League Football League starting, some new schools in the Schuylkill League. So times are good down south?
Yeah, I think incorporating the football league into the overall Schuylkill League is something that, you know, solidified it. You know, having football, you know, football is big in this area. And then, you know, some of the other sports leagues, you know, our girls basketball and the Schuylkill League is fantastic. Our boys basketball sends a lot of teams to states on a year-to-year basis. There's a lot of great swim programs. There really isn't one thing or division that doesn't send somebody to states just about every year. So very proud about of the student athletes that we have in the programs and the coaches that we have, and they really do our league proud, especially when they get into state competitions.
How did everything go this year, too, you feel, with the different classification? I know it's at a district level, but, you know, you had maybe some moving around or divisions around in the Schuylkill League?
The divisions pretty much stayed the same. But, you know, having the multiple classifications or the additional two really gave a lot more opportunities for our student athletes to experience playoffs, to experience district playoffs, and then also, obviously, that spawns into state playoffs. So it gives more exposure to our student athletes, which is awesome. Helps for college, helps for you know, many other things. But you know, I thought it was interesting this year in that just having more opportunities for the kids is a great thing.
And the Schuylkill League, I always think they do a great job of doing things. I want to say big, too. You have in the beginning of the year, there's always a media day. I know it's through the Schuylkill Football Coaches Association, but also Mart's Hall, all these really big games. It's a cool place to be.
Yeah, they call it the Mecca for a reason. And you know, if you build it, they will come. And thankfully, they built it, and people have continued to come. It's a great venue. You know, a lot of very important people and players from the past played there. You know, you had Kobe Bryant not too long ago, Jerry McNamara not too long ago. Those are the more recent ones. But you know, there's a lot of other historic fields. I know Lehighton has just gotten a turf field for their football stadium. So we're very excited with a lot of the facilities. We're very excited with a lot of the opportunities that our student athletes have on a day-to-day basis competing in the league.
You were an athlete when you were in high school at Cardinal Brennan. What do you learn from the athletes now? I mean, is it a different type of character? Is it kind of the same things? Are you impressed by some of the athletes?
Athletes have gotten way better, I think, probably since you know, the opportunities that they have now. You know, the training centers and everything like that really weren't there when I was going through. You really had to search, seek, and find some of those opportunities. You know, especially if they were sports specific. But now, I think with the internet and with the social media, it has given them more opportunities to find these places, go and you know, take in better interest than we had back in the day. But also, you know, the internet, you can get private workouts and, you know, get different types of workouts where you can do at your local gym. So it really kind of helps.
And last thing, as we get ready to go, we have spring sports coming up, obviously, and still, you know, playoffs going on with winter sports. When you maybe take a look back at this season, what do you learn from the Schuylkill League this past year, and what do you do now looking forward as president?
Like I said, we try to focus on continual improvement. We'll reevaluate what we've done as a league. We'll look at what we currently do and see if we can make it better. You know, that it could be various things, but you know, typically we do that in our May meeting. So our spring meeting is going to be coming up. We'll look at that and see if we can improve anything. We'll take a lot of suggestions from our ADs. Like I said, they're a very seasoned group, and they have a lot of good ideas. And if we can lend them, and the whole league goes after it, then we'll go for it.
Steve, thank you once again, and we'll stay in touch. I'm down in the Schuylkill League. I hope those shots of softball and baseball cheered you up just a little bit. We'll be back tomorrow on SSPTV News. I have a special story on Jimmy Hoffman, Hazleton area wrestler who earned a state silver medal at the wrestling championships this year. We'll see you then. Take it easy, everyone.
Watch us online anytime at ssptv.com and follow us on Facebook and Twitter.